Red Light Falling, Episode 4, Dear Diary. Written by Joseph and Marisha Cautilli. The novel Red Light Falling, a noir tale of redemption by John Andrews, Joseph Cautilli, and Marisha Cautilli. Book 1 of Nanite Nation series. Director and producer, Roma Gray. Executive producer credits, Marisha and Joseph Cautilli. Narrated by Joshua Banks and Shauna Lee Carton. Music by Marisha Cautilli. Tom sits in a darkened room at Hastings Corporation headquarters. His head pounds from his afternoon excess drinking, and his legs feel dead, jumping uncontrollably. Slowly, he lifts himself, only to fall back onto the chair. A loud sigh escapes from his lungs, and the springs bounce in the chair. Growing agitated, Tom wipes sweat from his brow and rubs his face. After several minutes of trying to get up, he finally stands. Smiling at his accomplishment, he strolls toward the elevator. "Lab floor," he commands as the doors close. The elevator speeds 12 floors below the surface, and the doors slide open. In the cold confines of the laboratory, Tom sees Professor Jennifer Louis. Professor Louis, an attractive woman in her mid-20s with jet black dreadlock hair and pale white skin, surprises and stuns many in the building. Indeed, when she wears her spiked leather jacket, people in the building call her Cyber Snow. She hates the name and gets furious if she hears anyone mention it. Tom often thinks the name suits her. She has an unorthodox look for a scientist specializing in genetics. She had been a prodigy as a child and had a brilliant mind, which is a must for the Hastings Corporation. When Tom arrives, Louis is so wholly engrossed in her work that she doesn't notice his presence. The scientist hums an odd tune while mixing a strange blue fluid into a yellow one. Visibly, she smiles when the solution begins to bubble and climb up the side of the beaker. Louis quickly writes the observation down in her notebook. Tom has no idea what it means. For all he knows, she is mixing an evening cocktail. If truth were known, he would prefer she was. Thoughts of a nice cold cocktail circulate in Tom's head. He licks his lips, thinking of a cool drink to chill him down. He is still hot, even though the air conditioning makes the laboratory rather cool. "Professor?" Tom whispers so as not to startle her. It doesn't work, and she jumps. Her eyes twist in aggravation as she stares at him. He worries the whispering had the reverse effect and came across as creepy. A smile crosses her face, which she finally recognizes Tom.
"Hey, I've been waiting for you all day."
"Why?" Tom inquires, more worried than he intends to display.
"All good things."
The professor quickly adds with a grin. Tom shakes his head and gives her a second to organize her thoughts.
"Well, take a look at this."
She insists as she points to the corpse of Charles Jacob. "Yeah, he's dead." Professor Louis gives a puzzled look and says,
"Yeah, good observation. More importantly, I created a solution that, when mixed with some of his blood, could retrieve a piece of the necessary gene sequence."
"Wow, a full piece," says Tom sarcastically.
"Yeah, a full piece, which is more than we have now. Besides, I'm working on distributing the genes using nanites."
Louis points at some laboratory equipment. "How's that coming?" Tom inquires. Science stuff bores him, and he thinks, "I'm not sure if I can handle the answer that's coming. Soon, she'll be spouting some genetic la-di-da."
"The distribution mechanism is about 6 months out. But if I can get one live kid's genes, we will be able to build an immortal army of telekinetic and telepathic children at that time. Imagine a generation of super soldiers.
Louis answers as Tom yawns. Yeah, you've told me this before.
Yes, but it was just speculation before. Now, I have isolated genes.
Why can't you isolate the dead genes?
It is strange.
Louis continues, a puzzled sound in her voice.
When the kids die, the gene decays rather rapidly. I have never seen DNA decay this quickly.
So, what does the old man think?
He is pleased overall and tells me that you are on it. Remember, this is his life's work, his grand achievement.
He's just another old man, trying to cheat death. Shocked by the comment, Louis takes a step back.
Well, if you nail that Eddie kid, he might be able to do that. But Tom, this is so much more than that. It is about mankind achieving its place as gods. It is about taking our first steps to live long enough to travel beyond our solar system. I know many have promised, but this could literally change everything. So, get your ass to work.
Preparations are in full swing. I assure you, I will have the wit brat before Turtle Dove. And then we'll see who has the smarts to run this company. The professor gives an awkward glare at the ruthless businessman standing before her. She thinks for a moment, then closes her mouth. I'll be the top dog once the old man kicks the bucket. Sheesh, let it go already. Anyway, I need a drink. Keep me updated, and I'll let you know when I have the kid. Coldly, Tom rattling pivots on his heel and, giving one last look at the stiff on the slab, heads back to the elevator and up to the ground floor, to the building lobby. He appears smug as he lords over all the little people in the lobby of the main Hastings building. With a shit-eating grin, he wades through and leaves the building. Early evening, Detective Black sits in his hover car. He feels horrible for having been cold to 427 and considers calling her, asking if she wants to hit a bar and get a drink for him and current pulse for her. As he passes over Market Street, another thought hits him. I don't have to be on the murder case to piece this together. I got that missing kid's case. Except that case is not mine either. His mind fumbles back to the name of the kid that Red said Johnny worked on. He finally comes up with it. Eddie White. If the kid ain't dead, maybe he's on the target list. He is in the hit age range. Could ask questions to see if anyone has seen that kid, or if a woman has been looking for him. Of course, it must be a woman other than his histrionic mother. Tapping the phone screen in his quad, he calls Mikolov. The phone flashes 3 times, indicating 3 rings before it's picked up. Hey, Black. I'm glad I got you. I want in on the White case. Detective Black? Yeah? Are you drunk? That's a horrible thing to say. I don't even drink, sir. I take my free time out on the range. Which is what makes me think you are pranking me. Why do you... Oh, is this some sort of backhanded way of going after that serial killer we sent over to Major Case? No, not really. Which is it? I want to protect the kid. I want to get him home safe. And that has nothing to do with the killer of all those other kids. My intentions are for the one kid. I heard about his mother, and it gave me a bit of empathy for him. My mom was a bit over emphatic as well. If I happened to run into the serial killer along the way, well, life takes weird turns. I'll make sure the captain is aware of the shift of the case to you. You're a good man, my friend. Hey, you would not know how to get in touch with the social worker for the kid. Sending you the file now. Her name and number is there. She does not know the kid's location, though. She knows Justin's, though. Well, here is the thing. Justin's information got lost in a computer hack a couple of days ago. She is searching for the information for me now. He has to look in some old records, like hand-taken notes. I'll call her and see if she has made progress. Detective Black knows this could all be a wild goose chase, but with lives on the line, he plans to catch some geese. Daisy turns on her computer, and the screen's glow casts a harsh light in the dim room. She accesses the internet and runs the standard credit check. As the data pours in, the receptionist finds that Lily was in significant financial distress less than a year ago. A bargain basement shopper living on the edge. Then there's a distinct change in her credit. A mass payoff of back debt. High-end store purchases. Fashion boutiques. Her payment history has improved, and she never misses a payment after that point.
That must have been when Tom Rattling entered her life. He swoops in and suddenly she's living the high life.
Daisy concludes. She notices that her credit line is doubled on 2 of Lily's cards with Tom co-signing. The pieces fall into place.
Of course, it's always about the money.
The secretary picks up the phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she dials Johnny's number to fill him in on what she has discovered. The line is busy.
Damn it, Johnny. Always busy when I need you.
The secretary figures she'll have to fill Johnny in on the details later. She leans back in her soft black faux leather chair, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing.
What's Lally playing at? And why would Tom Rattling get involved? There's more to this story, and it's about time we got to the bottom of it.
The harsh, garish neon lights from signs outside her home flicker through the blinds, casting long shadows across the room. Daisy feels a chill run down her spine as the realization hits her.
This case is more tangled than I thought. And we're just getting started.
Eddie decides to play the Xbox i2022.2 with Justin. The device loads into their mega smartphones, allowing them to play in 3 dimensions. It even has an option for serious gamers to jack into it. As Eddie's new Mega Smart syncs with Justin's device, the aura of the seizure starts inside him again. But this time, he feels the voice is trying to bond with him, rather than take control of him. All right, stay cool, Eddie, he tells himself. This feels different, but not bad. Maybe I'm not just having a seizure. Perhaps nothing more is happening. Feeling more confident and secure, Eddie senses he is becoming something. What it is, he can't say, but it feels powerful. I'm not just a kid anymore, he thinks, smiling as his phone links with Justin's, and the 3-dimensional battle hologram appears just above his screen. The setting is Justin's apartment. It is an old 3-story family row home converted into multi-unit apartments. His con work paid for most of it. Occasionally, the kid receives some state aid. Their room is a fusion of aesthetics. Organic growth intertwines with sleek metal structures, and neon lights pulse. The home's exterior is clad in mismatched bricks, reliving its once singular purpose. Each floor is a separate dwelling, connected by creaky wooden staircases and adorned with makeshift steel railings. The ground floor opens into a common space where tenants share a kitchen with outdated appliances retrofitted with modern tech. About a dozen kids live in the house. Most are throwaways or runaways, homeless, before they arrive in Justin's little paradise of delinquency. As Eddie's three-dimensional battle machines crush Justin's, Justin lets out a barrage of colorful language. Eddie responds with a spurt of laughter that escalates into snickers, snorts, chuckles, and giggles. Eddie thinks, Justin's got no clue how strong I feel right now. A laugh bursts out of Eddie uncontrollably, but maybe that's a good thing. He ponders. I need to understand what's happening to me before I let anyone else in on it. The room's low-light ambience is punctuated by flickering holographic projections, and the air hums with a low-frequency buzz of hidden electronics. Eddie feels a strange electric energy coursing through him, intertwining with the voice inside his head. He wonders, are these just voices even real? Maybe I'm just going crazy, but it feels so real. Damn it, Eddie, you're on fire! Justin exclaims, half annoyed, half impressed. Eddie smirks, his eyes reflecting the red glow of the game. To Justin, the tween says, feels like I'm becoming one with the game, man. It's wild. But in his mind, Eddie muses, what is this power? Where's it coming from? The boy pieces together the puzzle in his mind. And these voices, guiding me or leading me astray? The room's details reflect an array of merging patterns. Vines grow over exposed circuit boards, and moss creeps along the baseboards, merging nature with a machine. The walls are adorned with posters of cyber-enhanced warriors, their eyes glowing with an artificial intensity. As they continue playing, Eddie can't shake the feeling that this transformation, this power, is just the beginning. He glances out the window where the city's space of new cyber city sprawls below, a blend of towering skyscrapers and decaying tenements. I need to figure this out. I need to know what I'm becoming. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. Eddie's journey is far from over. Hang on, Eddie, the boy tells himself, as he is so far ahead of Justin in the game without even focusing or trying. Got a lot to learn. There's no turning back now. As the game continues, he hears the voices again, whispering strange, fragmented phrases. Am I the only one hearing this? He wonders, his heart racing. Or is this all in my head? 5 minutes after Eddie realizes that maybe he is heading down a rabbit hole that he does not want to, Justin gets a call from one of the boys downstairs. The boy marches up the steps and says, Justin, Pig here to see you. Which one? Don't know this one. Has a badge, though, and says he's a Detective Black. Eddie, let's be safe. Hide in the shaft, behind the closet. Okay. Keep quiet. Collapsing on her bed, Daisy pulls out the diary and flips it open to the next page. She enjoys the experience of delving into someone's personal life, uncovering their most private thoughts. But Robert Hastings is not just a man with a large horned dragon tattoo on his arm. He is the founder and owner of Hastings Corporation. He is the man running the world.
Dear Diary, 7/10/49. Many call this the age of miracles, but whether those miracles come from heaven or hell, no one can say. While it is true that the blind can now see, either through laser surgery or cybernetic implants, the deaf can hear, similar means to the ones I just mentioned, and the cripple can walk, exoskeletons, new nerve regeneration techniques to remove squid tissue. It must always be remembered that the same techniques that brought us the jumpies, people born after the COVID pandemic, in the pre-blastula stage of development, who were genetically altered to process information, were also used in the Germany affair an incident that occurred when Libyan terrorists stole a mutated form of the AIDS virus that had been inserted into the genome of streptococci. The bacteria were dumped into the Hammelburg water supply. When residents drank the water, their immune systems attacked the bacteria, which activated the virus. The SOS gene released it directly into the T cells. By the time intelligence was able to neutralize the virus, 3 million people had been infected, and this tipped off the Third Iraq War. I still feel sorry about having to force troops into Iraq, but I strongly believe the terrorists need to be neutralized. To give you an idea of the postmodern world, when Toffler wrote Future Shock, the world population was doubling every 35 years. Today, it is projected to double every 28. The gross national product of goods and services in the 21 advanced nations doubled every decade and a half. After the remission of communism, it doubled every 6 years, even despite periods of depression due to markets bursting from inadequate regulation. Between 85 and 90% of all scientists that had ever lived existed now. Today, the number of scientists have tripled over just 4 short years ago, making up a full fifth of the working population. With the invention of solar power stations that absorb the full spectrum of light, turning them into microwaves and massers, the solar roads that cover our land, we have just barely managed to keep up with the biannually doubling energy consumption by industry and consumers. Of course, we still use fossil fuels, and the world is getting hotter yearly. Today's aerial transporters are slowly replacing quads as America's favorite form of transportation. It is a good time, in many ways, to live. My wife's field, clinical neuropsychology, and clinical psychopharmacology, with a focus on neurochemistry, which did not take root until the early 1980s, now has over 60 journals on related topics. She started designing neural networks to use reinforcement principles in areas in older times known as machine learning. She has since moved on from that area. Our lab briefly worked with Earth Corps to solve crimes through forensic analysis. Now, she is busy trying to merge nanotechnology with the nervous system. I have given a grant to her and Dr. Falsto to further their work on the nanite and cyber projects. Interestingly enough, she found inspiration for the nanobot design from a drawing found on Mars. When I heard that, I thought she was seeing things in a picture that were not there, like some sort of ink blot test for the subconscious. But not. I am less sure. I even provided them with double the usual lab space in my corporation. If I can secure nanotechnology, Hastings will be a company that people will respect. It could triple our size. I know that I don't need the money. We could do a lot of good for mankind. Besides, I can use the money to clean up the current political system of its left-wing radicals, the jumpies, and do-gooders. As my mother used to always say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I should not complain about the jumpies, though. Poor people scarred by power genetic. It was not their fault. The nervous side effects that they experience and the extra thumb per hand are both a product of the genetic manipulation they received. It has been our position to treat the jumpies, And as we have done so, we are developing a serum that someday might produce a super soldier with the help of Aiden Harris and, of course, John Rutledge. However, we have had some setbacks with that. Preliminary tests have concluded that with participants experiencing increased irritability and less inhibition in controlling expressions of rage. Still, if we stay the course and have no further surprises or setbacks, in time, I feel, as we have done with energy and fuel systems, we will dominate genetics and neurogenetics. Probably the most shocking thing to me is that my biggest rival corporation, Greenspan, is located on the moon. So, my diary, the world has changed much over my lifetime, and much of its change has come from my direction. I feel that I am creating the world in my image. Robert Hastings.
Daisy takes copious notes, knowing Johnny would be extremely interested in these revelations. Her hands press against the pencil so hard her knuckles turn white and her fingers ache. Engrossed in the life story of the old man Hastings and feeling the pressure emanating from her boss, she continues note-taking. Working hard and fast, her fingers press down until, just as she is about to write the next line, the lead of the pencil snaps off.
Shit.
Daisy exclaims, cracking her knuckles and pulling on her fingers in turn, hoping to prevent them from cramping too much from the writing. Daisy falls into an obsessive fervor, wanting to know everything about this man. This is, without a doubt, the best chance to get into the head of the man who, for the lack of a better term, is a god of high-stakes business and runs this whole city. The dim light from her desk lamp casts long shadows across the room, adding to the noir atmosphere. The rain patters against the window, a constant reminder of the world outside, a world shaped and controlled by Hastings. Daisy's mind races with thoughts, each revelation a piece of a much larger puzzle. She wonders,
what drives a man like Hastings? What secrets does he hold? And how can they help us?
New Cyber City pulses in the background, a low, constant drone that mixes with the rhythmic tapping of her pen against the notebook. Daisy knows she's onto something big, something that could change everything. The air is thick with tension, and she feels the weight of her discoveries pressing down on her. She thinks,
this is it. It might be the breakthrough we've been waiting for. Or it might just be another dead end in this case. Time will tell.
With renewed determination, Daisy sharpens her pencil and dives back into the diary, her eyes scanning each word with relentless focus. The stakes have never been higher, and she knows every detail could be crucial. Justin strolls down the stairs. Detective Black stands by the couch. Well, Justin, you have grown so much. It is great to see you.
I'm glad to see you as well, Detective Black. Would you like some coffee?
No poison in it, right?
I would never do that to you. You're like my favorite of the detectives. I mean, with your record of shooting people, at least 12 right now. And of course, no one else has that sexy robot working to meet his needs.
Justin grins, knowing that 427 is a bare-bones type of model. Black frowns. Let's cut right to it. Where is Eddie?
I have no idea. Came here the first night we got out of jail, and when I woke up, the kid was gone.
Black strolls around the room and sways closer to Justin. He could tell the kid is hiding something. You know, when I came here, I could have gone right up to the steps, but I wanted to give you some time to cover up whenever illegal activity you were engaged in, a thank you would be in order.
I was not doing anything illegal, but thank you for respecting my privacy, officer.
Like your boots, kangaroo skin?
Actually, they are fakes. Made from sea kelp, believe it or not. I could not afford anything as expensive as kangaroo, or even snakeskin or alligator. Engaged four-legged? It's out of my league.
Nice place you got here. How'd you afford to buy it?
Why?
Black just stares at him.
As you know, when my father died, I received a bit of money from his life insurance. Plus, I got a bit of money from the wrongful death suit against the fucking billionaire that killed him. Also, if you must know, Red set me up a page to help donate money to me. Sort of a college fund, and everyone in the department generously gave.
I remember. I was one of the people who donated.
Thank you for helping me get my home. I appreciate your generosity.
So, how come this place is not listed in the social service records?
No idea. Might be in some sort of lost file.
Computer hack. Have anything to do with it?
Detective. I would never even think of committing.
Black stares skeptically. Justin corrects himself.
Confessing to a crime, especially one that could get me 5 to 7 years in prison.
Is the kid here?
No.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. Kid might be at some of his old haunts. I remember he said he liked playing video games. Maybe you catch him at the retro arcade or even at Penn's Landing amusement rink.
You know, I plan to come back.
I'm sure.
I'm planning to visit a kid that I always liked. Close to your dad, you know?
Thank you then. Oh, please bring the robot sometime. I love to meet her.
They talk for several more minutes, and then Black notices the time. He says he has some work to be done. Putting away the computer, Johnny feels a momentary sense of relief. There is hope in this case. He walks to the desk, pulls out a bottle of scotch, and pours a glass. Within 5 minutes, he feels as if the lights in the room hypnotize him. Through the window, the red light beams onto Johnny's hands. I hate this light, the detective thinks, as his mind drifts to a flashback of children running in the streets of Kirkuk, the ruby-red sky of the setting sun, and the rising red darkness of the street lamps. Red street lamps lit the streets at night, with stored sunlight from the day. Bombs fall, destroying buildings, and then his mind reaches it. The image he profoundly hates. The image of his hovercraft firing on a building full of terrorists. Only, it was not a terrorist hangout. Their information had been wrong. So wrong. Children run burning out of the building, screaming. It had been an orphanage. An orphanage, damn it. Immediately he orders his team to help, but the damage cannot be undone. One moment, and all he thought he was shattered. They made him a monster. Even today, the screams echo in his head. Tears sting his eyes. He hates all war. He damn near loathes himself for being part of the war. He pours another hit of scotch and knocks it back. We lost control of the situation, thanks to the government. Whether it was an intelligence mistake or America, the Allies were making a very vile statement, using me and my men, the pawns of a war, to aid on one level but a deeper level for power. They had forced the craft down and tried to help the dying innocents. Falling into his seat, Johnson feels a migraine attacking his head as an image of a little Muslim girl bleeding from a hole in her right temple stares up at him with doe-like eyes. He had held her, yelling for medical attention, but it was too late. Why did it have to be too late? He thinks, pinching the bridge of his nose and facing away from the red light streaming across from the window. Why did I have to be a part of this nightmare? The room feels suffocating. The weight of his memories pressing down on him. He tells himself, I need to focus on the case, find Eddie. Maybe saving him can make up for some of my actions. But the past is a relentless ghost, and Johnny knows it will never truly let him go. All he can do is get back to work. He heads down to Penn's Landing, the amusement park, to interview people. Detective Black sits in his quad outside the local amusement pier on the old Penn's Landing. He watches, determined to stop any adult from leaving with kids who are not their own. About 2 hours into his watch, he tells himself, Come on, Black. This is stupid and a bit creepy. You're an adult man sitting outside an amusement pier. This is longer than a long shot. Briefly, he debates why he doesn't just turn it all over to Detective Johnson. But as he says the word detective, he realizes he hates the PI. Not just Johnson, but all the flunkies who didn't attend the police academy and are now a menace on the street. His hand clasps on the psychological profile, and he reads it for the 4th time. It offers very little concrete information on who to arrest. He decides to enter the park. Detective Black steps out of his quad. The evening air is thick with the scent of fried food, and the distant sounds of laughter mingle with the ocean waves crashing against the pier. Blue, green, and yellow light flash and blink in the foreground. In the background, harsh neon lights cast eerie reflections on the wet pavement, giving the place a surreal, almost dreamlike quality. The small amusement park buzzes with advanced technology. The entrance is framed by a holographic archway, displaying a mesmerizing light show that welcomes visitors, with animated figures dancing and swirling in vibrant colors. A small roller skating rink sits by the entrance, and multiple trucks selling food and glow sticks. The ground beneath his feet is made of a smooth, glowing material that pulses softly with every step, creating a dynamic light path that guides him through the park. It feels alive, and he wonders if it is bioluminescent. Walking through the entrance, he notices families and groups of teenagers milling about, their faces illuminated by the glow of the arcade games and rides. He scans the crowd, looking for any sign of Eddie or a suspicious adult. The assassin's profile flashes in his mind, along with the memory of Red's description of Eddie, a kid caught in a web of trouble, possibly a pawn in something much larger. By the hover coaster, a sleek roller coaster that uses anti-gravity technology to lift and glide passengers along its twists and turns without any tracks, several teens congregate. The officer approaches them, and when they notice him, they disappear into the crowd. He thinks kids can spot a cop a mile away, especially that bunch that hang with the Justin kid, who Red said left with Eddie. He gets distracted for a minute, staring at the cars of the hover coaster. They are streamlined pods, each equipped with immersive virtual reality headsets that transform the ride into an interstellar adventure with thrilling sound effects and visuals. On the cars, kids can press the button to fire guns that hit spots on their computer screen as they ride, giving them a score as they blow up ships. It seems like they are quite the simulation. Black thinks, Stay focused, Black. Just keep your eyes open and your wits about you. He stops near a cotton candy stand, pretending to be interested in the sticky treats, while subtly observing the people around him. A woman in a red coat catches his eye. She looks nervous, glancing around as if she's searching for someone. Could be her, or is it just a coincidence? Play it cool. The officer approaches the woman, his heart pounding with a mix of anxiety and determination. She wears a low-cut red satin dress. Excuse me, ma'am. You wouldn't have happened to see a boy about 11 years old around here, would you? Goes by the name Eddie White.
No, I haven't seen any kid like that. Why do you ask?
Just looking for someone. Thanks anyway. As he walks away, he feels a twinge of frustration. This place is a labyrinth of distractions. Finding one kid here seems almost impossible. Gotta keep trying. Eddie's out there somewhere. If I don't find him, who will? He could be my ticket to finding this serial assassin. He continues his search, moving through the crowds, his eyes constantly scanning. He passes into an area of faux fog that is generated for the horror house. The night is young, and the stakes are high. In the neon-lit chaos of the amusement pier and the scattering of its light in the colloid fog, Detective Black's resolve hardens. He won't stop until he finds Eddie White. After finishing the entry, Daisy turns the diary page and once again finds herself engrossed in Robert Hastings' life. Her heart flutters as she reads.
Dear Diary, 7/11/49. Just yesterday I wrote about the jumpies, and today we got our first researchers for our new surgery and gene therapy program that my wife is running. His name is Sam Clark, and his parents paid for the neonatal operation and gene program by selling everything and working 2 jobs to repay the loans. Like all the genetically enhanced jumpies. He is exceptionally bright. He is only 18 years old and already he has a master's degree in experimental neuroscience. I think he will be a fine addition to the team. My wife said she already thinks highly of him, but some of the other researchers in the lab were less than receptive to him, including Dr. Falsto. I must admit, though, that if I were one of the younger guys, I'd be worried about him stealing all the glory and promotions. He is one of the first of a new breed of humans. Some are worried that this new breed could easily oppress the old, and I'm sure there are more on the way, especially in the medical fields. On average, jumpies, who got their name because of an odd twitch that developed from the neurochemical side effects of their manipulated genes, have a 15.5% higher intelligence rate than the standard population. Their highly efficient nervous systems came partially from research on a disease state. Indeed, if not for the affliction called multiple sclerosis, people would have never studied myelination of neurons. Myelination of neurons speeds transmission, and thus allows the signal not to degrade. The clinical effects are greater information and more rapid discrimination of essential versus non-essential details from a task. For signals to conduct, there must be an area with no myelination called nodes of Ranvier. My wife tells me that a mathematician calculated the maximally efficient distance and discovered that it would be a nanometer further down from its location. This discovery excited molecular biologists who had done much work on the molecular genetics of glial cells. Well, they discovered a way to insert this DNA using a virus into the cells. But it could only be done for biochemical reasons I don't understand, shortly after fertilization and before the fetus reached the blastula stage. Thus, not only would the child have to be a planned birth, but in most cases, conception had to occur in the lab. The work of these genetic mutants is simply fascinating. I pray that Brenda's and my decision not to have our children, Karen and Mike, altered were truly based on the concept that the project was very experimental at the time. It was a tough decision that filled over 60 pages in Diaries 8 and 9. We met with all kinds of counselors, and I frequently spoke with my father about the procedure. In the end, we concluded that the procedure was just too risky. Looking back on it, I worry we made the wrong choice. At the time, genetics research was moving just too quickly, and it was a decision I was just not prepared to make. Life is frustrating. I had always planned to send the kids to the best regional schools and pay their way through college, which I am doing, but they still might be disadvantaged. I mean, in a world where information is king, then the genetically enhanced are kings. Hell, I paid for them to get braces, but this decision was just out of my league. I envy the families that were willing to make it. Parenting, I guess, is a trial and error process over generations. Some people are more risk averse than others. Still, you try things that your parents did not do with your kids. My parents were even opposed to braces, but I got them for my kids. And I hope my kids improve on my mistakes. But of course, if the side effects were worse than just the twitch, then I would have never even given the whole project a second thought. Robert Hastings.
Daisy thinks for a moment, sympathizing with Robert Hastings' pain. These types of decisions are rough to make. The thought evokes images of her parents struggling with decisions about facial implants for their children to raise their cheekbones. At the time, she was a teen and was upset when her mother refused the surgery for her. Daisy turns the page, her heart pounding. The room feels heavier, the air thick with anticipation. The sound of the rain tapping against the window seems to sync with her racing heartbeat. As she reads the next entry, she senses something significant that could change everything. Hastings' words grow darker, more urgent. He writes about a pivotal moment, a decision that altered the course of his life and the corporation's fate. Daisy's fingers tighten around the edges of the diary, the paper crinkling under her grip. She wonders,
What did he do?
a shiver runs down her spine.
What could be so important that it shook even a man like Hastings?
Each word pulls her deeper into his world, the tension building with every sentence. The secrets she uncovers are like pieces of a puzzle, revealing a fascinating and terrifying picture. Daisy can almost hear Hastings' voice, echoing through the pages, a man haunted by his choices and the shadows they cast. She tells herself,
I have to keep going.
Daisy tells herself, unable to tear her eyes away from the text.
I have to know the truth.
The flickering lamplight casts eerie shadows on the walls, making the room feel alive with unseen forces. The tension in the air is palpable, a living thing that tightens its grip around her chest. Daisy's breath comes in shallow gasps as she turns another page, bracing herself for whatever revelation lies ahead. She thinks,
This is it. This is what Johnny needs to know. This could be the key to everything.
the stakes are high, and Daisy knows that the truth she seeks may come at a cost. Hastings Corporation has a lot of power and may choose to keep things hidden, but she's willing to pay it, driven by a relentless need to uncover the secrets Robert Hastings tried so hard to keep hidden for all these decades. Turtledove comes to the old entertainment park for two reasons: to track down Eddie White and to visit the Zero-G Zone. It offers a unique experience where visitors can float, bounce around in a controlled, low-gravity environment inside an enormous transparent dome. The Dove enjoys the sensation of weightlessness, performing flips and acrobatics as she plays with the glowing orbs that change color on the touch. As she exits her favorite ride, she hears young teens discussing a weirdo. Obviously, the guy is a cop in a suit with cop shoes, searching around the park for a kid. He keeps approaching people and asking questions. Turtledove decides to snoop around a bit herself. Maybe he will get lucky and find the white kid. She could kill him and then do the kid in with one quick blow. She catches the sight of the detective in the park corner, talking to a woman in a red dress. The woman gives him no answers. Turtledove decides to kill the detective. His death would slow the police down long enough for her to complete her mission. She draws her knife and approaches the officer from behind. This is a different kind of kill, one not contracted, but to protect the contract and ensure her mission's success. No juice for this kill, she thinks.
Focus, Turtledove. This is what you trained for. No mistakes.
As she moves closer, the assassin notes the name on the tag, Daryl Black. She recalls the teachings of Shinto, the belief of kami, the spirits that inhabit all things.
Kami, guide my hand. Let this act be swift and just.
The park's neon lights tinge the area green, and the roar of the rides creates a surreal backdrop. The fog causes the light to scatter. Turtledove's heart pounds in her chest, but her movements are precise and controlled. She feels a strange connection to the environment, as if the park's spirits are watching her every move. Black passes into a fog used for the park's whorehouse. Following, she reminds herself,
This is for the mission. For the greater good.
The assassin inches closer to Black, her knife glinting in the artificial light. The detective is oblivious, focused on his conversation with the woman in the red dress. Turtledove's grip tightens on the handle of her knife, her breath steady and measured. The air is tinged with the smell of popcorn and pizza.
One quick strike. End it now.
But as Turtledove raises her knife, a sudden thought crosses her mind.
What if this is not the way? What if the Kami disapprove?
The doubt is fleeting, but lingers long enough to make her hesitate.
No,
She tells herself firmly,
this is necessary. The mission must come first.
Turtledove steps forward with renewed determination, ready to complete her task. The park's spirits seem to hold their breath, waiting to see what will happen next. Knife drawn, she thrusts it into his back. He screams as it hits his kidney. He turns and moves to say something to her. She thinks he says, "Hush, Chip." Weaving through the traffic and past the glimmer of skyscrapers in his hover, Johnny Johnson reaches the amusement park, the neon glow of the hollow map station casting an eerie light on his face. Music from the Ferris wheel provides a lively and entertaining sound. Children laugh, and parents place them on the ride. The holographic kiosk displays a 3D map of the park, offering real-time updates on wait times and show schedules. Johnny glances at the map, deciding the best place to start is the augmented reality arena. In this arena, players engage in epic battles using AR glasses that overlay digital landscapes onto the real world. Johnny thinks, God, I wish my children were young again. Do it right. Quickly, he checks his regret and reminds himself, focus, Johnny. You've got a job to do. Kid's life might depend on it. As he passes by several kinetic sculptures, he hears a scream. Johnson pivots toward the old haunted house and has difficulty seeing through the fog. Eventually, his eyes clear. Less than 40 paces away, Johnny rushes to the area. A woman has stabbed Detective Black. Despite his disdain for the guy, the private eye runs in yelling. The scream is enough to make the assailant run away. A crowd starts to form behind him as he reaches the downed detective. Someone call an ambulance, Johnny shouts, rushing to Black's side and placing a hand over the wound. The knife is still inside. He rips off a piece of his shirt and tries to stabilize the knife and cover the wound. Black reaches over to him, whispering, "Reach in my pocket. Profile on person hunting the kids. Might be hunting yours." "Damn it. This is bad." Johnny thinks, his mind racing. Whoever did this is still out there. The neon lights dance around them. The air is thick with tension and fear, and the clang of the amusement park rides a haunting backdrop to the chaos. Johnny's heart pounds in his chest as he fumbles to reach into Black's pocket, his fingers trembling. Johnny thinks, "Stay focused, Johnny. This is bigger than just you." The detective's breathing is shallow, his face pale. Johnny knows time is running out. The park's green, yellow, and blue neon lights seem to pulse and sync with his racing heartbeat. The fear and urgency, almost palpable. "I have to find Eddie. I have to stop this." The crowd murmurs, their faces a mix of curiosity and horror. Mothers cover children's eyes and try to lead other kids away. Park security moves in. Johnny draws out the profile, his eyes scanning the details. The words blur for a moment as adrenaline courses through his veins. Johnny thinks, "No time to waste. Every second counts. I need to find this kid before he is killed." Why kill him, though? Just a kid. Is it because of his alleged powers? He stares at Black and grabs his hand. The cop is in grave condition. "Let go of my damn hand. I still don't like you." The tension in the air is electric, and every second feels like an eternity. Johnny's mind is a whirlwind of thoughts, and the weight of the situation presses down on him. The fear is real, but so is his determination. "I'll let go then. Hang in there, Black. We're going to get through this." Johnny glances at his bionic arm, a thought crossing his mind. "I can use this to cauterize the wound, at least temporarily." His hand trembles, and he wishes he'd done better maintenance on his bionic. "Hold on, Black," Johnson mutters, activating the heating element in his bionic arm. The metal heats up quickly, glowing faintly. Johnny carefully presses it against the wound, the smell of the burning flesh filling the air. Black groans and screams in pain, but the bleeding slows. Black's eyes tear in agony, and he shouts a slew of curses. "This should buy us some time. Just hang in there, a little longer." Johnny thinks, his heart pounding. Sweat pours out from Black's face, and Johnny fears the man will not make it despite his best efforts. It flashes briefly in his mind that some in the department will believe he did not try hard enough, no matter what he does. He thinks, "Damn it, where's 427? The rust bucket's always with this guy." Realizing the need for immediate medical assistance, Johnny drags out his mega smartphone. His fingers fly across the screen as he dials for an ambulance. The phone's holographic interface lights up, and he connects to emergency services. As Johnson does, so he notices the red light on his hand. He feels drawn into a flashback, but the adrenaline flowing in his system helps him suppress the flashback. Indeed, as he pushes it aside, his mind clears. "Emergency services, how can I help you?" The operator's voice crackles through the device. "This is Johnny Johnson, private investigator. I'm at the amusement park near Penn's Landing. A police detective has been stabbed. We need an ambulance, fast. Again, officer down." The private eye says, his voice urgent. "Help is on the way. Stay with the victim and apply pressure to the wound." The operator instructs. Johnny puts the phone down, his focus returning to Black. He rips off a piece of his own shirt to place pressure on the wound. "Stay with me, buddy. We've got help coming." Black grunts as the sirens wail in the distance. Johnny steels himself for what lies ahead. The hunt is on, and failure is not an option. "I won't let Eddie fall into their hands. I can't let this happen again." The fear is real, but his resolve is unshakable. Staring down at the words, Daisy chuckles. She reminisces fondly about the scenes Robert conveyed.
Dear Diary, 7/31/49. Did I ever tell you you've evolved through 4 communication patterns? These patterns reflect the evolution of communication at the time I produced you. First, you were handwritten. The first 4 volumes were created this way. Communication had changed so much by about volume 5 that I decided to roll with it. They sold books that were nothing more than typing books. I typed each page of the book. Of course, times changed, and the word processor evolved. So I moved to word processing, diary. Finally, now I speak into a microphone with this book, and the words appear on the page. My daughter has never handwritten anything as far back as she can remember. When she went to cyber school, everything was typed. She submitted material by typing them and then speaking them into a computer. That word processed them. In preschool, she learned how to word process, so I guess the muscles in her hands developed in a different way than mine did. The girl can type 100 words a minute, but if I asked her to write a note, it looks like a 7-year-old from my days wrote it. Thinking about it, her education was drastically different from mine. She has never sat in a classroom like I did as a child. Her education was heavily problem-solving based, and even had a strong focus on group problem-solving. Indeed, in some ways, it resembled what my wife called cognitive behavior therapy. Trends influenced her learning in strategy development and immediate reinforcement. I think B.F. Skinner would have been proud of the immediate feedback of her cyber-based program. Indeed, much of her learning now is operant-based direct instruction, where rules are directly taught and reinforced. Of course, she has had special classes on rule creation, discovery-oriented. Anyhow, her computer terminal provides her with immediate feedback, and she has online instructional meetings with her teacher to complete certain work goals. Once the goals are achieved, she receives feedback and rewards for her performance by the computer system. It rewards her for both the quality and quantity of her performance. The program is designed to build rapid fluency in problem-solving skills and comprehension. The authors of her curriculum learned a lot about programmed instruction, so they ensured the problems were challenging but not overwhelming to the student. Indeed, the program has thousands of possible paths to completion to better adapt to the student's learning styles and needs. Even her classes are very different from the ones I had in school. She took calculus during her first year in high school. She has also taken classes in assertiveness, communication, and social skills. Some of these classes are scenario-based using virtual reality functions of the computer. Finally, every year, she has taken computer science, history, literature, and 3 sciences. The world has completely changed. Lodge was correct in the 1980s when he suggested that businesses would support the schools. I know we certainly do at Hastings. It is essential to turn out the workforce exactly as we need them to be. Workers are expensive to train, so getting them early is important. Indeed, as predicted, this has led to greater specialization of the school system here in New Cyber City. New Cyber City. It will take me a while to get used to the new name. I so often want to call it New York or Philadelphia, but hell. I invented the name, or at least my friend John Rutledge did in his childhood, so I should stay consistent with using it. Rutledge has still been working on the serum with Aiden, and the anger issues still present in the participants. Brenda and I have both offered to review the chemical formula of the injections to determine what is inducing the inhibition of rage in them. But Aiden claimed the project was too confidential for even us to interfere in it. Anyhow, tying work to education has led to an educational recovery. Now, I know that some out there are still skeptical and complain that this recovery has forced children and parents to make some drastic decisions very early on in their child's life. They screamed freedom, but what they meant was laziness. To meet their concern, we started career counseling in the 3rd grade, and by the time a person is a senior in high school, they are set. I know parents write to me about children needing to reconsider their career options, but high school is just too late. Training becomes too strenuous as the child ages and develops certain habits. Sure, minor changes could be made, but a mathematician could never effectively move into a writing curriculum completely. Often I suggest that the child consider being an entrepreneur. Why not? It certainly worked for me. Of course, my interest in the schools is because of my son, Mike. Mike was similar to his older sister, Karen, in development, but he had some unknown virus by the time he was 10. I forget what it was called. Some viruses cause encephalitis, which is a swelling of the brain. It damaged several areas of his brain, which made him look like a zombie. Whenever he asked me something, I would look at him, see the sagging eyelids, and hear the incoherent words. See Diary 9. He struggled in school. We ensured he got the best special education, but they were not meeting his needs. We had to move him from cyber school and put him into a brick-and-mortar classroom. But teaching then was a crapshoot. This was when I committed to the learning program in school and improving the school system. Maybe Brenda's work could help change Mike's fate someday. She is quite gifted as a neuroscientist. I am very proud of my wife and her contribution to the world in which we live. Brenda has that high level of potential. When I met her, she was researching preventative methods for schizophrenia, using an antibiotic with neuroprotective properties. Minocycline and omega-3 fatty acids, combined with social skills training and parent training to reduce expressed negative emotions in the house, and increase the use of rewards through a token economy. She was able to reduce the conversion rate for those at risk from 30% to 1%. Her team's work was impeccable. Since she has much more on the line now, I am sure she is 100 times more focused. God, I am so anxious about tomorrow. I have been sitting here writing, and still, the anxiety builds. John Rutledge called me today to wish us luck. Like his father, Max. He's a good egg, but needs to focus more on his professionalism. At his age, he must take the mohawk down, remove the razor from his cheek, and stop calling himself the last biopunk. Just because some of us don't wear ideology on our sleeve, make us no less committed to the doctrine. Anyhow, I promised him we'd get together soon and catch up. He's still doing stem cell work. I know this new program to harvest genes through nanites could collect the necessary sequence to stabilize some anxiety effects the jumpies experience. Brenda just needs to convince the board. Of course, she must first sell them on our current learning program and treatment. I put on REM, an old band from the last century, and I am listening to a song, Losing My Religion. I guess it is apropos for all I have been through. Anyhow, tomorrow, Dr. Falsto and Brenda will present their program to the board for funding. The board is usually putty in my hands, but they have been difficult lately. Our last quarter's numbers were lower than expected, and since then, well, they have been crabby. Through this entire dictation, my hands have sweated, and I have been unable to nap all day. I think now I shall try to catch some sleep. Robert Hastings.
Daisy stares at the information. It is important, but not enough to drive what she needs for this case. She worries it will not produce any concrete leads. Sometimes the past is just the past.
So, the big guy had funding concerns and was worried about board approval on his new project.
Notes Daisy. But of course, This was an aside. The time was over 30 years ago. Still, there was a lot of good information, so she picked up the phone to contact Johnny and let him know what she had discovered about Hastings' founder so far. Reaching home, Turtle Dove breathes heavily. Someone saw her and drew much attention, but she doubts they got a solid identification. Turtle Dove searches her records, knowing that she risks losing her reputation if she doesn't take care of the white brats soon. The assassin's aware of Hastings' employees taking bets on whether Rattling will manage to get these freak kids into the corporation, or if she will do her job and clean up his failures. So far, it's about equal, but leaning slightly in her favor. The Dove intends to keep it that way. She enjoys her job too much. It's not a good time to be out of work. Over the last 2 decades, being out of work has never been a good time. With high unemployment and right-to-work laws, corporations have made it challenging to get a decent salary. Many people work 60-hour weeks and still live deeply under the poverty line. Briefly, the Dove thinks of the old woman in the diner. Hell, she never wants to end up like that, serving strangers and begging for a tip. Turtle Dove is resolved to protect her reputation. She tells herself,
This job is everything. Without it, I'm nothing. I have to succeed.
She opens the computer network enhancement in her arm and scans through a catalog, requesting an item to be sent immediately. Turtle Dove relaxes her thoughts as the data download takes only a few minutes. As it pierces her skin, she feels the surge of power travel across her nerves. The rush is a truly glorious experience. A smile creeps across her face as an image of the next loose end she needs to tie up appears in her mind.
I can't fail. Not now. Not ever.
Leaving the police station after being interviewed, Johnny is told Black is touched and goes to the hospital. 427 is rushed to join him to be at his side. Johnson told no one about the profile Detective Black had given him, figuring if they asked later, he would say he was in shock and forgot. After showering off Detective Black's blood, Johnny reads the psychological profile. Male, and seems to be a corporate contract killer. But is he involved with Eddie? With Daisy's information, Johnson decides to check out Hastings Corporation. Johnny wants everything, and the kitchen sink. He links himself up with his computer and searches for a guided layout on this corporation. The damn corporation running this city. Coffee. Radio off. Sorry, Jackie. Not today. He sits with a steaming mug of coffee, eyeing the glare from the screen, and downloads visitor guides to the big building directly into the microchip that stores data in his bionic arm. A last resort in case he needs it. He knows the building from the outside. Everyone knows it. The building is a damn monolith guarding Cyber City, dominating the north, the wealthier parts of the city. However, this isn't really what he wants. This is face stuff, the facade. Johnson sips at his coffee and splutters at the heat of the drink. Shit. Tapping quickly at the touchscreen, Johnny brings up another page to float to the other side of him. A face appears, slightly distorted from low frequency, live holo vid feed. Johnson, long time no see. What may I do for ya, old boy? The robot shifts in and out of focus, but Johnny eyes the rust. The robot's evident decay suggests it lives on borrowed time. Well, Patch, Hey, you're not falling apart on me, are you? You noticed, even with this horrific feed. Yes, I am. My cycle is running down, and since I am one of the first human cyborg models to be made from the now-defunct Botcore Corporation. There is no need to fix me. Or even Johnny views the live feed as the robot on the other end pauses. He feels his old lungs expanding as he all but holds his breath, breathing out only when he realizes the old robot is scanning its memory banks. Boot me up was the phrase I was looking for, old chum. This robot is for the junk heap, alas. But maybe I can do you one last service. You must have wanted something. Johnny smiles, a thought popping into his head. If Patch the robot has eyebrows, he would raise them inquisitively. Yeah, Patch. Really simple. I needed the nitty-gritty on the Hastings building. Blueprint layouts, if you can get 'em. Just things like that. And I need it yesterday, you get me? No challenge, detective. Johnson hears the faint clicking and the whirring noise via the live feed. Then across the room, his print fax powers on, and sheets of paper start feeding through. He grabs the dusty HTML cable to make sure it is still connected from his computer to the printer, and thinks what a relic his equipment has become. All done, Johnny. Thanks, Patch. You're a star. Hopefully, we'll speak again before, well, yeah. The robot coughs and signs off after saying a farewell. Johnny thinks, feeling sorry for Metal. Sheesh, I'm growing soft. Johnny pushes back from the desk and stands up, heading to the printo fax. Johnny thinks, oh, technology never seems to die. It just gets recycled into something that resembles new. He examines the paper already coming through. Several blue sheets. The much-wanted blueprint layouts are among the growing pile. Heading across the room into the kitchen, he grabs another coffee, while ensuring all the information Patch sent through has arrived. Johnny reflects. Look at this mess. Living in a world where corporations run everything, and the streets are ruled by the rich, while the rest of us fight for scraps. Straight punk philosophy, right? That's what it's all about. Fighting against the system and living by your own rules, even if it means going against the grain. Then he mulls to his failure. There was a time when he was serious about no strong drink, even coffee. Where had that gone? He fell apart so quickly and completely when Jackie left him, giving up on all he was. He pours another cup of coffee, the dark liquid swirling in the mug like the thoughts in his mind. I'm not just some cog in the machine. I make my own way and find my own answers. If that means taking down a corrupt corporation like Hastings, so be it. Johnny's eyes narrow as he looks at the blueprints, his determination growing. They think they're untouchable, but they're not. We've all got to live by the same rules, no matter how much money or power we have. No one's above the law. Johnny picks up the blueprints with a renewed sense of purpose and heads back to his desk. The weight of the situation presses down on him, but he's ready to face it head on. He thinks, I got to stand for something. I got to matter, even slightly. This is my city, too, and I'm not letting it go without a fight. After getting off the phone with Johnny, Daisy immediately returns to her reading. She is engrossed in peeping into the life of Robert Hastings. He is a fascinating and complex man. She is intrigued by his life. She wonders what happened to his wife and why she has never heard of Brenda Hastings before reading this journal. She flips to the next entry.
Dear Diary, 8/1/49. It is 2:30 a.m. and I just can't seem to get to sleep. Today is the day. Shit. There is so much I wish I could do, but I know all that needs to be done has already been done by Brenda and Falsto. I guess I will just write to you until I calm down. Funny thing, I am all worked up and my wife is fast asleep. I guess people just have different coping systems. It is times like these that I second guess myself. We were making tons of money in energy production, but my wife wanted us to move more into the medical realm. Part of me wants to retreat into the industrial world as far away from people as I can get. Did I ever tell you I am in love with the most beautiful woman in the world? I have been since we met on October 31st, 2029. Her name is Brenda Kimmy Long. She's biracial, which made things tough for her growing up. I was working on the diaper project and finally brought the test diaper to the research team. I was excited. It was the world's first paper diaper. 8-ply and carefully coated with an aloe-based substance to prevent baby rash. It would take me another 10 years to perfect it, but all the environmental groups jumped on board when I did. A diaper that could biodegrade in a few weeks instead of centuries? The environmental impact was massive, and the parents loved the quilting pattern. When she walked in, I was on the elevator trying to get to a meeting with possible investors in my product. I had never seen her before, and I don't think I will ever meet a woman more beautiful. I offered her a mint to strike up a conversation. We talked a little about her work in schizophrenia. When I told her it would be great to discuss it over coffee, she shot me down. But the exchange held a trace of affection. Maybe just in my mind. Brenda always denies it. And I got her interested in the diapers. Eventually, we started dating. As I see her lying in bed next to me, I see the accomplishment of all my hopes and dreams. Damn! Every time I think of her, I can feel the bond between us. Excuse me, diary. I prefer to just hold her until my fears disappear. Robert Hastings.
Daisy stops reading. Her mind absorbs the material.
Well, well. He has a soul. Or maybe had a soul. I guess I won't ever know. I doubt I will meet him.
Johnson slows his quad to a light hover as he emerges from the byway and enters the north quarter of Cyber City. The Hastings Corporation building looms over the smaller buildings, standing tall and oozing power, lording over the city. If it weren't for the bright neon sign, it would cast a shadowy darkness over those buildings closest to it. A vast satellite dish adorns the roof, where the city gets television signals. There's a shitload of trouble, should that ever go down. Johnny thinks as he circles the building, acting to any casual observer as if he is looking for a good parking spot. After the government's collapsed, Hastings gathered some of his corporate friends to form the Corporate Council. A government to last, the tycoons proclaimed, but the new government proved to be just as bad as, if not worse than, the old inefficient Democratic one, and its members were no less prone to gambling, using, and debauchery. One of the first actions of the new corporate government was to ban unions. It was not difficult, as unions had been on the decline for decades up to that point. The corporations wanted to show that the idea of organized labor was not needed, and ventured to build the Hastings Building. Behavioral safety was scorned for its slowness, and thus workers were forced to work at paces that led to an increase in injuries. 17 men were crushed by the machinery used to perfect the interior. Their bones served as a testament to a new era, one Johnson thinks of every time he views the monstrosity of the Hastings Corporation building. Landing and parking, he sits for a moment, watching as many people enter and exit the building's glass doors. Busy place. Plus, the security looks tight, Johnny thinks, tapping his fingers along the steering wheel while he ponders his next move. All right, Johnny, think. What's the best way to get in there without raising suspicion? He rubs his jaw and inspects the dashboard clock. With a nod to nobody, he starts the cell-powered engine. Sometimes the hard moves are the ones that produce the most effective forms of information. Johnson knows this, so he plans to return to Hastings Corporation after closing to do a little investigating. That is the thought formulating through his brain. Also, what should he do in the meantime? He reminds himself, the stakes are high. This isn't just about one kid anymore. This is about the whole damn city. The sizzling blue and pink neon lights cast long shadows across the street, making the air tense. Johnny knows that every decision he makes now could tip the balance. The oppressive presence of the Hastings building looms over him, constant reminder of what he's up against. I have to be smart about this. One wrong move, and I'm done. Johnny takes a deep breath, steeling himself for what's to come. This is my moment of truth. Time to see if I still have what it takes. As he drives away, his mind races with plans and contingencies. I need to find Eddie. I need to find out what Hastings is hiding. There is no room for error. The darkness of Cyber City swallows him as he moves through the streets, his thoughts a whirlwind of determination and fear. Terror sweeps through him as he realizes how much bigger than him this is. The corporations hold all the power, all the cards in the deck. He is nothing. But he'll be damned if he lets a corporate assassin kill kids willy-nilly because they may have some special gift in their genes. Focus, Johnny. You've been through worse. This is just another challenge. Another battle to fight. The night is just beginning, and the darkness holds many secrets. Johnny is determined to uncover them all, no matter the cost. There are lives at stake, and failure is not an option. Fascinated, Daisy reads the diary entries. The next one appears just after his meeting.
Dear Diary, 8/1/49. Today was excellent. We had several board members worldwide at the video conference, including Michael Andrews, the board chairman in England, and Yuki Gunji from Osaka, Japan. Brenda was charming and very informative. As I have mentioned in the past, my wife is a neuroclinical psychologist, and I am a biochemist and industrial chemist. Together we are imposing on the brain and on behavior issues. Dr. Falsto is a genetic engineer and cybernetics expert. Together we have worked on a diverse array of populations, including people with psychiatric disorders, head trauma, and stroke. A biological behavioral company called Star Biological Behavioral Inc. She was part of a multidisciplinary team of professionals researching the direct interface between microchips and the human brain. She researched this area for many years, developing techniques frequently used today to treat jumpies. Today, we laid out the whole agenda for the business world. The chip was designed to function in two ways. Initially, the chip was developed to help take advantage of their more efficient nervous systems. The chip has been used to teach French and other languages to participants who had never had language. The group showed that after implantation, they began speaking about 15% of the language in just 2 hours. By 9 hours, they had mastered most essential words and phrases. These results were pretty good, but everyone knew the jumpies were accelerated learners. The second, more stunning result was that it relaxed the jumpy learner by sedating some of the overactivity in the nervous system. We have not calculated the data yet, but this could be big. So today, we should be able to see that the chips could be modified to be nanobots The new system serves as a buffer for the nerves, with a glial cell function, blocking overstimulation of the system. After injection, we were able to show behavioral changes in just a matter of a few days. The jumpies managed behavioral issues much better, and many of them could move off their regimen of paliperidone and milnacipran. While none of the participants were able to come off all medication and certainly most continued in their psychotherapy, the new treatment shows promise. When our investors heard and saw the gains, the stock jumped up 4 points. Yep, over $1 billion in money poured into the company today. I am excited. I feel like I just won the lottery or something. It is a great sensation. I am going to get Brenda now. She is waiting for me. We plan to celebrate. Robert Hastings.
Daisy suppresses a moment of jealousy. The guy's life is fantastic. He gets a lot of breaks she never had. This is, without a doubt, the worst reason to read into another's life, especially one of the magnitude of Robert Hastings. She needs something, anything to take the edge off. Daisy gets up and leers at the fridge, not knowing what she wants, but wanting everything simultaneously. She opens the door and the light flickers over the usual suspects.
What am I even looking for?
She thinks, her eyes scanning the contents. Something to fill this void? Grabbing a bottle of A1 water, she gulps some down, feeling somewhat refreshed. Better than nothing, I guess. She closes the fridge door with a sigh.
Get it together, Daisy. You're not here to envy the man. You're here to uncover his secrets, to understand what makes him tick.
The room feels darker, the shadows longer and more pronounced. The flickering light from the fridge adds to the dark and sinister atmosphere. Daisy knows she's delving into dangerous territory, but can't stop herself. There's something addictive about peering into Hastings' life. She tells herself,
Keep your head on straight. Don't let his success cloud your judgment. Focus on the task.
Daisy sits back down, the diary in front of her. This isn't just about him. It's about understanding the world he controls, the strings he pulls. She flips to the next entry, her heart pounding with anticipation. Let's see what else you've got for me, Hastings. The weight of the pages feels heavy in her hands, and the words inside them feel even heavier. But Daisy is determined to keep going, to unravel the mysteries of Robert Hastings, one page at a time. Turtledove steps into her garage, which is rented under another name. Eileen Garside rented the apartment and garage for all documents and files. The fluorescent lights buzz and whir as she steps into the garage. She places her palm on a dark green sports quad and gets in. The seatbelt automatically straps her in. She presses a button on the dash, and Drunk blasts on the force in fire and gold. Turtledove smiles as the black metal band from Ukraine surrounds her, and she reverses out of the garage. The assassin allows time to make sure the security locks down after she vacates the premises. A light flashes red on her quad, and she studies content, huffing. It's locked up tighter than a puckering zuppa. The dove thinks of her father then as she drives off to find a good place to merge into the slipstream of overhead traffic. Her hands sweat, and her mind races. The traffic flashes by in a blur, but she's not aware. Her mother had left. She chickened out of life, leaving her at the age of 5 with her bastard of a dad. Turtledove smiles a cruel smile at the thought of her father, lying in agony as the blood spills out of him. She had been 11 years old. With a dangerous flair for risk, she ascends fast and accelerates through the traffic. Horns blare but can barely be heard over the next track, playing King Evil's False Pride. some high-octane Japanese heavy metal music. She swerves and dips the quad, barely missing a family in their large family quad. As she swerves past the family members' faces, contort as if they are screaming, Turtledove barely hears any of this as she descends several blocks from her apartment, but still a block and a half from the big, looming Hastings building that towers oppressively over New Cyber City. Parking in the quad park of a local strip bar, she leaves her vehicle to charge its cell. Turtledove loves the quad, but the cell runs down quickly. Looking around at nothing, Turtledove reaches into her jacket pocket and withdraws a small hit-on-the-run juice gun, made for those juicers who need something small to carry. She shuffles through her bag for the augmented reality headset to enhance the high. She toys with the idea, but then decides against it. One hit to take off the edge, but be alert and on her toes. She presses the small injector gun to her neck and pulls the hypo's trigger. The juice flows straight into her veins, dancing with her blood cells. She allows herself the briefest of shudders, and then locks the vehicle. Heading straight to the back door, she hears the rhythmic beat of the techno tune from inside. She knows at this time that some idiots in suits believe they're lording over these women, taking their clothes off for money, not knowing that it's the women who hold the power. A light pheromone is pumping gently through the air ducts within these walls, only affecting the males who populate the place. The mixture never harms the men physically, it just lulls them into the zone, with the women dancing alluringly, hypnotizing them like a snake charmer into giving the dancers lots of credit. It keeps the men coming back.
Hey, Madonna May.
Turtledove calls as she sits herself down at the bar. It's quiet here, as most of the men are at tables watching and cheering on the dancers. Topless women and fembots wait on everyone. It is a good place to drink without being seen or heard. Plus, Madonna May is the big sister Turtledove never had. Growing up in the orphanage, they'd met each other, and the two are bonded for life.
TD. Sis. How are you? Come here.
The woman behind the bar with all blonde curly hair with green streaks throughout and a voluptuous body, compared to the petite and lithe Turtledove, lifts the panel on the bar and walks around to give the female killer a big hug and kiss on the forehead.
Baby girl, you look good. Still small. Are you eating? With your salary, you should be fine dining.
They sit on the bar stools and idly chat for a bit. Madonna May wants to know all the juicy gossip, but doesn't want to know exactly who her sister has killed. That's the deal, to protect both.
Plus, I'm sure she doesn't want to know that I've had to kill teens for the last few weeks.
Turtledove thinks to herself. She sits in a silent reverie for a few moments. Being used to this, Madonna May lets her be while she returns behind the counter and pours some shots. When Madonna May returns, Turtledove greets her with a huge smile. In the hospital, Detective Black lies deep in a coma. The knife has hit his liver, and he has undergone an operation to prevent bleeding. By his side sits Detective 427, his loyal robot friend and co-worker. The smart rooms in the hospital are a blend of advanced technology and signs of inequity. Sleek, white walls are adorned with various medical devices that monitor Black's vital signs. The TV is mounted on the wall. It includes numerous intelligent automation features. When a doctor or other care team member enters the room, the TV adjusts to display a digital whiteboard informing them of the patient's preferred name and language, any safety restrictions, dietary considerations, upcoming procedures, and more. The holographic interface generated from the TV floats above his bed, displaying real-time data on Black's condition. The bed itself is state-of-the-art, designed to adjust to his needs automatically. Yet, The stark contrast between the rich and poor is evident beyond the door of this high-tech sanctuary. Patients in the public wards are crammed into outdated, overused beds with minimal medical equipment. The stark difference in care is a glaring reminder of the societal divide. The door to Black's room slides open, and the doctor enters, his coat pristine and his demeanor professional. "Detective 427, we're doing everything we can for Detective Black. The good news is that we plan to regrow a stem cell-generated liver for him. The procedure's expensive, but the police union has excellent insurance, and will cover the costs."
Thank you, Doctor. How long will it take for the liver to be ready?
She grabs Black's hand and holds it. Part of her wishes her hands were made of flesh, so he could feel soft and warm instead of cold steel. She wills her hand to warm. "The process will take a few weeks. We need to ensure it's a perfect match and that there are no complications. In the meantime, we'll keep him stable and monitor his progress closely."
I appreciate your efforts. Detective Black is a valuable member of our team, and we need him back as soon as possible.
Inside, she feels dishonest. She feels like she is lying to the world. She wants Black back because he is her world. He stopped those who shunned and bullied her. He made her feel safe and often brought her a laugh. Hell, she needs him back because she loves him. But this world would never understand that. And she knows if she says that Earth-core doctors in sterile suits will dissect her in some room circuit by the circuit to find the malfunction. "We understand, and will do everything in our power to expedite his recovery." 427 glances at Black, her robotic eyes reflecting the dim light of the room. She knows that despite the hospital's advanced technology, the journey ahead will be challenging. She thinks,
Hang in there, Black. We'll get through this. You've always been a fighter.
the circuits in her high-speed brain flash and buzz. Her eyes glow yellow, and she feels anger. She asks herself,
Why did he not take me with him?
The room purrs with the quiet buzz of air purifiers and circulators, starkly contrasting the chaotic world outside. In this moment, surrounded by cutting-edge medical tech, 427 feels the weight of the inequities that plague their society. But she remains focused and determined to support her friend through his recovery. "I'll be back to check on him later. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask."
Thank you, Doctor. I will.
As the doctor leaves, 427 settles into her vigil, her sensors attuned to any changes in Black's condition. The fight is far from over, but she is ready to stand by him every step of the way. She watches the regenerative biogel being administered into Black's IV, its grass-green glow reflecting in her eyes. The gel contains billions of microscopic organisms designed to accelerate healing, a marvel of healthcare innovation. The process was created by Doctors Karen McCall and Augustin Velez. Twice an hour, he is scheduled for tiny nanobots to help repair the lining around his new liver. She thinks,
We function in a world where nature and technology merge, but the divide between those with access to these advancements and those without is stark. Hang in there, Black. We'll make it through this.
the room's atmosphere is a blend of life and machine, a testament to the future of medicine. 427 feels renewed purpose as she sits by Black's side, determined to see him through this and fight the inequalities they face together. Inside, 427 feels a strange urge. It is unlike any she has ever experienced. If Black dies, nothing could stop her from finding his killer, and she pauses.
I want to say bring the killer to justice, but if I lose Black, I will bring justice to the killer. And it will be long and painful.
Thank you for listening to Red Light Falling, Episode 4, Dear Diary, written by Joseph and Marisha Cautilli. The novel Red Light Falling, a noir tale of redemption by John Andrews, Joseph Cautilli, and Marisha Cautilli. Book 1 of Nanite Nation series. Director and producer, Roma Gray. Executive producer credits, Marisha and Joseph Cautilli. Narrated by Joshua Banks and Shauna Lee Carton. Music by Marisha Cautilli.